library, and we had a very curious beginning. It was 1982 to 84. He had just moved into a fine house on Nebraska Avenue near American University with his wife and his small son at that time. And to conduct him to WPFW to be on air, I picked him up and took him to dinner at the Hawk and Dove on Capitol Hill. He said he asked if he could order steak, which I thought was strange, asking permission. At this time, I was going through a personal crisis. Unlike many who go inward with their troubles, I tend to fill the air with them. One of my children had a troubled husband who was locked in his apartment and would not let us enter. We were frantic, and we were planning a family intervention. I was inconsolable, and Hecht, in his bow tie, looked more and more like a frightened rabbit, listening attentively and must have thought, is this what a poet laureate must endure, dinner with a nut job? The evening must have had every star out of alignment. After dinner, we had what I thought was a wonderful time on radio with his poetry, which is really immortal. I was getting my balance back. Anthony Hecht, I never felt privileged to call him Tony after this evening, read his John Clare poems. Now these poems are about the great prodigal poet, and it refers to gypsies, as if any of you know his work. Somehow, a listener walking through the room somewhere got it out of context and found a racial equivalent to gypsies in her mind. Who could have imagined this or prevented it? Now, listeners usually called in and talked to our featured guests and praised them after the show and asked where to buy their book. Well, this woman blasted Hecht for being a racist, and I over the air, and more that I could not hear. Anthony Hecht was so shaken when he got off the phone. First dinner with a hysteric, then a humiliation, a rash of insults on his first public appearance in Washington. Let me say, I was heartbroken. When my book Creature Comforts came out that year, I inscribed a copy to Anthony, and years later found it abandoned in the poetry office. Who could blame him for not wanting memories of that unsettling night? I was able to make it up to him when I put Voices and Visions on the air, which was the first primetime series on poetry, and we were able to honor Anthony, and I tried to make it up to him, but I never could call him Tony. Is that 10? Thank you.